Today, we're going to be talking about Xamarin.Forms Shell navigation, including URL-based navigation and passing parameters from page to page. So tune in. Hey everyone, I'm James Montemagno and I'm back with another Xamarin 101 video. I've been putting out a bunch of videos right here on my YouTube channel every single week. So hope that you're subscribed and ding that notification bell so you're up to date with all the new videos. And today we're talking about another requested video from you, the viewers, which is navigation specifically with Xamarin.Forms Shell. I'm excited about Shell itself, and when we walk through building a brand new application for the first time, which I'll put a video up over there about, we talked about that we chose Shell as sort of like the future proofing of my Xamarin.Forms applications. I like Xamarin.Forms Shell specifically when it is more than one or two pages of your app, and when you also are doing a lot of navigation, because when you structure your application with Xamarin.Forms Shell, you can add tabs, top, bottom, flyout easily, but you can navigate around with URL-based navigation. And URL-based navigation is just like the internet. It is, having slashes and being able to go to a specific string that you put into a navigation bar. In this case, it is telling Shell to navigate to a specific URL, and you register pages to go to there. So if you're familiar with MVC or routing and ASP.NET, this should really feel right at home. And if you've done any previous Windows development or phone development in the past, this should also feel very, very familiar to you. The really cool part about Xamarin.Forms Shell navigation with URLs is that you can also pass parameters and you can have them automatically be bound to properties on your code behind or in your view model. So I figure let's just get into it and start adding some pages into our existing coffee application. All right, so our application today, the one I'm going to focus on is our coffee application. And this is the application we've been building out here on the YouTube channel. And this page here has a list of coffees. Here they're in a nice grid, stack layout, and they're being stored locally in a SQLite database. I have all of the past videos on how we built this out previously on my YouTube, so take a look at those. So what we want to do here is a few things. This page is a list view, and it specifically is the My Coffee view model. So there's two things we want to do. First, when we add a new coffee, so right here we have this add command, we want to navigate to a new page, and then we want to navigate back after we save the item. Today we're just popping up a dialog. Also, I would like to be able to click on an item and then navigate to it and see the details. So over here in our views, I have this My Coffee section. So these are the local ones. We have Add My Coffee and then My Coffee Details and then My Stored Coffee. So this is the list, details we want to push to, and then My Coffee page. All right, so those are the ones that we have. So we got 3 pages that we want to go to. I also have a view model here for My Coffee view model, and then another view model for Add My Coffee view model. And previously we just shoved all of the data and all the logic into this area here, into my Coffee view model. So if we take a look as we scroll down, we have an add and also a selected that doesn't do anything today. So we have right here an add, a roaster, add coffee, and then refresh. So what we want to do is not add it manually here. We want to navigate to a new page. Well, so we want to navigate to that specific page in our application. So what we first need to do is register the page with Xamarin.Forms Shell. So if we go over into our shell, the first thing that we'll note is that inside of our shell here, we actually have this thing called a route. And the route enables us to navigate to that page with a string. I like to name my routes the same as the page name because then I can do a name of. So anything inside of the app shell, you can just add the elements here with a route, but these other pages aren't in the shell, right? I'm going to navigate to them. So I'm going to come into the code behind over here. All right, here we go. And what we can do is we can say routing dot, and then here we have things like get route, get or create content, and set route and register route. So that's what we're going to do is call register route. And it specifically is going to take in 2 parameters, a string, which is our route, and then the type. So I'm going to say name of, and then I'm going to say my, add my coffee page. So that's the first one. We're going to add a new coffee, and then we'll say type of, and then this one will be add my coffee page. So quite simple, just kind of, that's all you got to do. And while we're here, let's also register our other page, which is my coffee details over here. See it there? So let's go ahead and do that. So my coffee details page. Perfect. So now we have two different routes that we can navigate to. So we can just start building up this hierarchy of pages we want to navigate to. Now at this point, we're ready to navigate. So let's go back over to our view model, specifically the My Coffee view model. And now when we do add, what we're going to do is we're going to say, let's do var route equals, and for now, we'll just give it a blank string. We'll say await shell.current.goToAsync. And this takes in specifically a shell navigation state. And that shell navigation state is actually a string. So we can just pass it a route. It's a little bit confusing that there's like shell navigation states, but really it is just a string that we're going to go to. Now this route to get there is going to be a chain of events. So you can actually populate and navigate multiple pages deep. So for example, if you're on this coffee page and want to have another page and then another page, you can use it. So you could say page 1/page 2/page 3, and this would navigate to page 3 just like a URL, but it would also create the backstack for you, which is really cool. Now we don't need to do that. What we need to do is go to name of add coffee page. All right, there we go. So now our route is ready to go. All right, now let's go ahead and take a look at the add my coffee page really quick, because now we're navigating to it, but we probably also want to navigate out of it. So I'm going to go into the add my coffee view model, and let's take a look at that. And here we have some simple properties. We have a name, a roaster, a save command. This save command is going to simply say add coffee into our database. We were doing this previously, like we just saw. So to navigate back after we're done saving, what I'm able to do is just say await shell.current. And this is really cool. This is one of my favorite features of .goToAsync, is that you can use shell and command type commands, if you will. So for example, to pop back, instead of just like go to async or pop back async, I'm just going to say ... That's it. Kind of like you do cd ... inside of a command prompt or terminal. You could also go multiple layers deep here too. So I'm just going to say ... and that is going to pop it back, which is really, really cool. All right, let's go ahead and navigate back out here. That's literally all we have. That's all we need to do. And now when I run this application, this will take it whenever I tap on the add, it will go to the add my coffee page and then navigate back out of it. Okay, and that's really important, is it's just a string. So if we take a look here at our route, we'll go ahead and see that up here. So it's going to load up the application. I'm going to go into my coffee. Now I did add a few coffees in here earlier, so we should be able to see that right here. But I'm going to hit add, and we see our route is add my coffee page right there. I'm going to go ahead and continue on, and it goes to the coffee page, which is really, really neat. Now what I can do is I can say coffee 2, and I'll say roaster 2, and then I'll hit save. And now it's saved it to the database, and it popped me back, which is super awesome. Now, when we took a look at this, right, when I hit this add, which popped me forward and I pop backwards here, I still have this ability to go backwards. Now, you may not want that. You may actually want it to be modal from the bottom. That's an option that you can have. And that is actually going to be on the page itself. So when I go to the add my coffee page, what I can do in the content page root is I can say shell dot. And down here, there's all sorts of different properties. So flyout behaviors, item foregrounds, tab bars, and the one that we want is presentation mode. All right. There's animated, modal, animated modal, modal, animated, not animated. We want just modal, which is also animated, by the way. And with that simple line change on every page, you can determine what you want it to be. And this is really nice because previously you'd have to make these decisions on a parent page and make sure it's consistent through your app. Well, now, no matter what, this will always be presented modally. Let's go into our My Coffee again. There we go, My Coffee. I'm going to pull the refresh here. We get all of our coffees back. Now if I hit add, see how it came up from the bottom? Now you can also override the back button. Now, of course, on iOS, there is no back button, but you can override that functionality to not allow the navigation to go back. But now we get it smooth coming up from the bottom. I'll say Roaster 3. I don't know, I'm coming up with names off the top of my head here for Roaster 3, and I'll hit save again. All right, so now we actually get it in here, can pull the refresh, and just like that, I'm gonna now have 3 coffees that are inside of my list, all by setting that presentation mode, which is pretty cool. All right, well, what about when I tap on one of these items? I wanna actually navigate to it. Let's take a look at that code, okay? So when we go into the My Coffee view model, there's a selected, all right? And the My Coffee here, we would think that I could just do something like this and say My Coffee details page, go to the route. The problem is, how does that page know about the coffee that I selected? Well, you need to pass it some information. If you think about how MVC routing works, you usually pass it an ID. So it could be something like, coffee/1, coffee/2. We can do the same thing here and pass in properties to it. So I'm in my Coffee page here. And what I've done is I've set up a string. So in all the properties that you pass, the query properties are strings. And I just create a simple one that's a get and a set. You can also, parse different properties and get really complex. If you pass a JSON, you could deserialize it and a bunch of stuff. But here I just have a coffee ID. And what I do is on appearing, I parse that coffee information. So I say, hey, that's going to be an integer that I'm passing in. Go to my coffee service and query for a coffee. So we can see here, it goes in, queries my coffee database, and it gets the ID. And hopefully it's not null, or else it will be here. So that's pretty cool. And there's also going to be a button on this page that'll say done. So these are very, very simple view models and pages, nothing really crazy going on here. So like we'll do earlier, we're going to go ahead and say await, of course, shell.current.goToAsync ... just make sure we can close properly. But how do we pass it this, ID? How do we get in there? Well, it's actually quite simple. On our class, we're going to say query property. All right. If we zoom in here, we have query string name and query ID. So the name is a mapping to the property name, and then the query ID is going to be, what do you want to make it in the query that will be parsed out, so the long URL. So here, what I like to do is do name ofs, because it's consistent, and I can say name of coffee ID, and I know that this will be the coffee ID passed in, and it will map to this coffee ID. This is kind of amazing. So I'll show you this, okay? So we have this, we're going to go. So if I go back into my Coffee view model, now all we need to do is come in to the selected and say question mark. Okay, we added a question mark here and say coffee ID equals, and then coffee.id, and that'll toString it. Now you can additionally use something after this like an and. That would be additional properties. So you could say coffee ID name. You could pass a bunch of different elements in there. This instance, I like to just pass it the ID, query my database, which is super fast, and then return it. So cache it there. So I don't have to pass an entire, object around, do a bunch of deserialization. But this is how I pass it in automatically. All right. And then we can pass this back. So let's go ahead and spin this up now. So we're going to the My Coffee details page, giving it the ID, and then it will go ahead and return this to us. And that is all because of this really awesome query property right up top. All right, let's give this a go over here. So we're loading up. We got hot reload starting up. Let's go into the coffee page. Now, again, we're going to load our coffees from our database. So we have everything right here. I'm going to tap on one. And what we'll see is that we have our coffee ID, which is set to 1 right here, which is kind of spectacular. Okay. And then now when I come up and I simply step over into our page, oh, there we go. We actually went already into it too fast because I stepped over. There we go. We have our coffee page right here. And then I can hit done, goes back. Click on the next one. We can see here, we have our result, which is 2, which is our ID that we passed in. Now we get fancy coffee coming into our application. So we're able to pass parameters easily. And of course, I can make this modal as well. So I just have a done button, and then it goes away and dots back and forth. So you get to decide if you want to come in, have the back button in it, or go forward there too. So now we have this entire page navigation coming into our application easily, right? Now you might be saying, well, James, this is fascinating because you're deserializing that object, setting it as the binding context, but how would you pass this to the view model, right? Because you might be creating your view model inside of your UI or in your constructor. It's a great question. So let's take a look over here. Let's say that you are creating your view model here. How would you pass a property or a query property to this view model? What's really cool is that you can assign a query property to the page or to the binding context. Xamarin.Forms Shell is smart enough to try to detect first, is there something on the page that can be set? And if not, then take a look at the binding context and set the property there. So let's say we wanted to populate the name by default, okay? Let's go into the Add My Coffee view model, and let's just go ahead and do that. Onto my view model, I'm going to say query property, name of, and here I'll just say name, and again, name of, name. There we go. And I'll stop debugging here. So we actually add that in there. So that's our property. Now back on my coffee view model, if I was to example to say name equals Mott's and pass that in, we're going to see that at this point in time, it will then go ahead and automatically set that property, trigger to Xamarin.Forms that the UI has a change because the property changed, and update it on our page when we hit add. So let's go ahead and get this page up. Here we go. Then we can also now go on my coffee. I'm going to hit add, and just like that, there's Mott's being passed in all the way up to my view model on the page, which is pretty awesome. All right, well, there you have it. That is how you get started using Xamarin.Forms Shell navigation, popping and pushing and doing all sorts of navigation with URL query, property navigation, which is super fun, and deep linking and popping. I really like this. I think it's kind of the future of how I architect my applications with Shell. And what I really like about it on top of all this, and I'll put details to blog posts below, some of the deeper dives that I've done, is that you can use this to do deep linking into your application to create a full backstack. I use this in Island Tracker, my Animal Crossing application, that enables people to send friend codes via a deep link URL. It opens the app, navigates to a specific tab, and then adds another page and sets the friend code request property automatically, which is really neat. So I've really taken this to heart and really got committed into using this URL-based navigation with my applications. I hope that you're really enjoying these Xamarin 101 videos. I've been loving the comments that have been coming in. I try to answer as many as I can, not all of them, but I try to. And I thank everyone else for just kind of got some almost community mods in a way, helping out answer some questions too. I really appreciate that. I'd love to know what other topics you want to hear about. I've got a lot of suggestions, so don't worry. I do have them on my backlog. Been thinking about them, but I want to continue to build out this 101 series. So when you're ready to start building your application, or if you're building along with me, you have all the building blocks that you need to build awesome applications in C#. Like always, I'd super appreciate if you liked this video. If you liked it, of course, that goes into the Google algorithm of YouTube goodness to recommend this video to others. I'm pretty sure it does, at least, or that's what I've read on the internet. And of course, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you get notified every single time I put out a new episode. Super appreciate that. And of course, I do stream usually on Fridays. We'll see how accurate it is, but over at twitch.tv/JamesMontemagno. Anyways, I really appreciate your time and for following along with these awesome 101 videos that at least I think are awesome, and a few of you do too. Anyways, thanks for watching and have a good one.